You know, whenever crypto comes up, it's almost always about price charts, right? All that speculation. But today, we're going to look past all that noise. We're going to get to the heart of it. Who is actually using this stuff? And not as some kind of lottery ticket, but as a real tool to solve some incredibly tough, real-world problems.
So, to really get this, we have to start with a big question. For a lot of us, right, banking is just there. It's like the plumbing in our house. We don't even think about it. But imagine for a second that system wasn't just unavailable to you. What if it was actively working against you? Because for hundreds of millions of people around the globe, that's not a what if, that's just Tuesday.
All right, so here's what we're going to cover. We'll look at the big financial hurdles people face, how crypto acts as a lifeline for global workers, and why it's a safe haven from inflation. Then we'll touch on banking for the unbanked, escaping financial repression, and finally, what holds it all together, the trust system.
So yeah, let's start with this idea that financial access just isn't universal. I mean, really picture this. You want to do the simplest thing, like open an account or send a few bucks to your mom, but you just can't. You're blocked. Why? Maybe it's where you live, or you don't have the right piece of paper, or maybe your own government's policies have just completely cut you off.
Okay, and this is where everything changes. For the very first time in history, we have this new kind of digital money that is completely permissionless. What does that mean? It means it's open to literally anyone, anywhere. You don't need to ask for permission from a bank or a government. The whole barrier to entry just crumbled. All you need? A phone and an internet connection. That's it. You're in.
All right, let's get into our first case study, and this one is huge. It's about the global worker. We're talking about hundreds of millions of people working abroad, just trying to send their hard-earned money back home to their families.
Just think about this for a second. You work all month, right? All to provide for your family, who are thousands of miles away. But actually getting that money to them, it's a total nightmare. It's slow, it's ridiculously expensive, it's just a mess of paperwork and middlemen. Honestly, it feels like the system is designed to be inefficient.
And here's where you can really see the difference, side by side. The old way is slow and expensive for one simple reason: middlemen. Every single one of them adds time and takes a cut. But with crypto, it's a straight line. It's a direct peer-to-peer transfer. It's faster and way cheaper because it just cuts all those guys out of the picture. And for millions of people, this isn't just a nice to have, it's an absolute lifeline.
Okay, moving on to our second case study. Now we're talking about a completely different group of people. These folks aren't trying to send their money anywhere. They're just desperately trying to stop it from vanishing into thin air.
Seriously, try to imagine this. You go to sleep one night, and when you wake up, your life savings are worth less. A lot less. This isn't some abstract economic theory on a chart. This is the gut-wrenching, day-to-day reality for people in places like Turkey, Lebanon, and Argentina, where their money is just in a total freefall.
Hey, if you think this is just a problem for developing countries, think again. Get this. Back in the 1980s, Israel, a modern, highly developed nation, saw an inflation rate of 2,500%. 2,500. It's just a crazy reminder that really no country is totally safe from this kind of thing.
And it's not just ancient history either. Look at this. We've all felt it recently, right? Inflation in the US, the UK, and Europe hit levels we haven't seen in 40 years. It's exactly this kind of uncertainty about the money we use every day that pushes people to start looking for something different, something that works on a totally different set of rules. So here's the key idea to lock in. This is the really crucial part. What some cryptocurrencies offer is an alternative that's based on math, not on the decisions of a small group of people. Think about it. Central banks can print more money whenever they decide to. But a system like Bitcoin, it has a fixed, transparent supply written into its code. It's audible by anyone. It simply cannot be inflated out of thin air. And that makes it a potential safe harbor when traditional money is sinking.
All right, let's talk about another huge group of users. A group that for many of us is basically invisible. We're talking about the billions of people who are completely locked out of the normal banking system.
So let's be super clear about what we mean here. The term is the unbanked. And it's pretty simple. These are people who can't open a bank account because they don't have the right official paperwork, like a birth certificate or an ID. There are tons of reasons why this happens, and it affects a massive number of people, especially in parts of Asia and sub-Saharan Africa. And I mean, think about the ripple effects of that. Being unbanked is a huge deal. You can't safely save money, you can't get a loan to start a small business or deal with an emergency, you can't really even participate in the online economy. It basically locks you out and can trap you in a cycle of poverty.
But now, look at this.
the crypto alternative. There are no gatekeepers. You download an app, you create a wallet, that's it. You are now connected to a global financial system. No ID, no registration, no one you have to ask for permission. It's instant financial access for anyone.
Okay, on to our last case study. This one is for people who aren't just left out of the system. They're being actively hurt by it, either by big international policies or sometimes by the actions of their very own government.
You can really think of this as having two sides. On one side, you've got things like economic sanctions. So regular people in a place like Iran suddenly find themselves completely cut off from the global financial world. And on the other side, you have governments making disastrous decisions, like during the debt crisis in Greece, where the government literally just took money right out of people's private bank accounts.
And here's a real story that just makes this crystal clear. There were parents in Iran who needed to send tuition money to their kids studying overseas. Because of sanctions, they were completely blocked. Every single traditional option was closed to them. So what did they do? They used Bitcoin. When every official door was slammed shut, this technology opened a window.
So what's the connection here? We've talked about the migrant worker, the person living through hyperinflation, the entrepreneur with no bank account, the family cut off by sanctions. They all seem so different. But the common thread? It's trust. They are all looking for a system they can actually rely on, because the ones they were given have completely failed them.
And this quote really just nails the whole idea. It's about a shift from trusting people or institutions run by people who can make mistakes or be pressured to trusting a system based on rules that are written in code that everyone can see and that are enforced by math across a huge network.
And that's the solution that ties everything together. People are choosing to use this system because of what it offers. It's transparent, its rules are predictable, and it's really, really hard for anyone to censor transactions or just take your money.
So that kind of brings us to the big picture. Money has been evolving for thousands of years. We went from shells to gold to paper money to just numbers on a bank's computer. And right now, we're seeing the next step emerge, one built on code. And it really leaves us all with a pretty important question to think about. As we design the future of money, what or who are we going to choose to trust?